But Bragg's rise was not without trouble. His contentious personality came to the fore within the context of soldiering. Because he had a strong tendency to analyze the Army's system and find it wanting, he often wrote testy letters to officers as well as politicians who might be interested in reforming the military establishment. While serving at various posts, Bragg became acquainted with many other officers and developed friendships with some, including William T. Sherman, but he also rubbed many other colleagues the wrong way. Erasmus D. Keyes remembered Bragg from their mutual service in South Carolina as ambitious, but being of a saturnine disposition and morbid temperament, his ambition was of the vitriolic kind. Keyes recognized that Bragg was intelligent, and the exact performance of all his military duties added force to his pernicious influence. Keyes also recalled that Bragg had already developed into a fierce defender of his native region by the mid-1840s. He could see nothing bad in the South and little good in the North, although he was disposed to smile on his satellites and sycophants wheresoever they came. Keyes failed to get along with Bragg because the Northerner was not disposed to concede to his intolerant sectionalism. 40 years later, Sherman recalled an incident wherein he mediated to prevent a duel between Bragg and a correspondent of the Charleston Mercury. The newspaperman disparaged North Carolina while making a toast at an Independence Day banquet in 1845, calling it a strip of land lying between two states. Bragg challenged him to a duel. Friends asked Sherman and John F. Reynolds to stop it, and Sherman was able to convince the correspondent to admit that North Carolina was a state in the Union, claiming to be a Carolina, though not comparable with South Carolina. Sherman recalled this incident with a good deal of sardonic humor, but it is obvious that Bragg's hot-headed defense of his home state nearly resulted in bloodshed. Bragg was ready, in short, to take on all comers. He certainly had no hesitation in taking on the U.S. Army. The young officer wrote a series of 9 articles that were published in the Southern Literary Messenger in 1844 and 1845, all of them highly critical of Army administration and organization. He did not spare certain high-level individuals as well. Although Bragg signed these articles a subaltern, it soon became common knowledge that he was the author. The person targeted for the most criticism was Winfield Scott, General-in-Chief of the Army. Many of Bragg's suggested reforms were needed, but the tone of his articles was very unkind and unprofessional. That tone brought nothing but trouble. Bragg applied for a leave of absence, being deliberately vague about its purpose, and used it to travel to Washington, D.C. in March 1844. There he lobbied various congressmen regarding his proposed Army reforms. When the Adjutant General learned of this, he ordered Bragg to leave, but the ambitious young man refused and continued his lobbying efforts, testifying before a congressional committee. Bragg was arrested, tried, and found guilty of disrespect. Unfortunately, he was given a light punishment, and it failed to instill any sense of regret or repentance. Grady McWhinney has aptly written of Bragg's distinction as the most cantankerous man in the Army. He had been court-martialed and convicted. He had been censured by the Secretary of War, the Adjutant General, and the commander of the Eastern Division. No other junior officer could boast of so many high-ranking enemies. The Mexican War offered Bragg a distraction from his obsession with military reform. He commanded one of only 2 light batteries in the Army, joining Zachary Taylor's field force in southern Texas in 1846. His unit participated in Taylor's capture.